and welcome to Potpourri. I'm your host, Shatondra Caldwell, and today we have two wonderful, beautiful guests today on our stage, and I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves.
Okay. My name is Dr. Carolyn Hall. I was formerly a professor here at Clark Atlanta University for about 7 years, but in 2010 I went to Fort Valley State University, where I teach English, Africana Studies, and World Literature.
Hello, my name is Pastor Venus Ponder. I am a pastor of New Beginning Faith Ministry along with my husband, and our ministry is located in Noonan, Georgia.
Okay, thank you guys, ladies. So let's talk about why you guys are really here today. We're going to talk about this book, I Can Do Anything with the Right Pair of Shoes. Ladies, I'm sure that's correct, right?
Yes.
We all love shoes.
Yes.
So let's start with the first question. What was the purpose, what was the main purpose for you guys writing this book?
Well, I'll explain it like this. Pastor V, as we affectionately call her name is really Pastor Ponder, but we call her Pastor V. I used to sort of visit her church sometimes on Wednesdays for Bible study, but I kept coming back. You know how you find that place that you like, but you're like, ah. So I kept visiting. And so she has a women's conference every year by the same name in the summertime called I Can Do Anything with the Right Pair of Shoes. And it just so happened that she invited me, even though I wasn't a member of her church. She was really, you know, really outgoing and really kind to me. And she asked me, did I want to go to the conference? And when at first I was a little bit hesitant because I wasn't a member there, but when I went, I came back and I called her and I said, Pastor V, I think that, you know, out of the conference that I have an idea for a book.
Wow, okay. So what was your thought on that when she told you that?
Oh, I was elated about it. The purpose of the book is, it is an annual women's conference that I have. And my women's conference is a conference that I open up to all women. They do not have to be a part of New Beginning Faith Ministry. But the purpose of the conference is to give women, young ladies, older women, midlife women, an opportunity to come and talk about and to share some issues that we're normally not able to talk about in a church setting. And so what we do, we have this annual retreat where I take you to the mountains, and everything that we do in the mountains stays in the mountain.
Wow. Mountains, cabins,
yes,
all of that?
Good food, all of it.
Okay.
Good food.
Swimming, all
Yes,
that?
jacuzzi. Everything, we make it about us. And the reason that I came up with shoes is because oftentimes as women, we love shoes. If you check every young girl's shoe closet, you check every grown woman's shoe closet, we got a lot of shoes. And so God gave me that idea because we love shoes, we love all different types of shoes. But however, we may love shoes, but every shoe do not love us. And so I use that as an analogy to draw women to say, how is it within your spiritual life that you are choosing to walk in the right shoes? Are you going to walk in the shoes in which the world represents? Or will you walk in the spiritual shoes in which God has put down in you that have not been unearthed?
So what was the inspiration for the book? Who was inspiration? Was there inspiration for the book?
The conference was the conference was sort of the impetus for the book. It was the starting point. But as you know, and also I think that I like to think of it as a divine connection, because I think it's really, really unusual for a pastor. You know, one of the things I love about her is that she has such a strong connection with the people, the flock that she's over, because it's quite unusual that you meet a pastor that has such a direct connection, you know. And at first it sort of freaked me out because I was one of those people is I don't want to shake the pastor's hand. She might know too much about me. You know, like I had killed somebody or something. You know how you're scared? You're like, oh my God. But she was really personable, not like thou art beloved, you know. And so being personable with her allowed me to see that that you could have a really, really tangible relationship with somebody who was spiritual that could help you want to become more spiritual. And so that was sort of the starting point for the book. And so through some conversations that we would have, because there were some times where she would just like, you know, say, Carol, you want to go to lunch with us? And I'd be like, okay, you know. And so, but when I would go, she would just be sort of a regular person telling real life experiences. And I think that especially for young women, it becomes extremely pertinent for us to hear these sort of things and for us to see that you can be a godly woman, be transparent before the people so that they can learn life lessons. Because a lot of times, you know, unfortunately, I use the analogy, because she used the analogy of the shoes, but I use the analogy in the book that talks about how when we're little girls, we play dress up in our mother's clothing. And what happens is when we put on these clothes, we want to be like our mother, we want to be like our sisters or other women that we admire. But there's a scripture that says, what man builds a house without first counting up the cost? And I think that a lot of times we want to put on these other people's clothes without really thinking about what it is that they've done to get these things, but also what it is, do these things really fit who it is that we are? Like, you know, I look at me specifically, I'm a very eclectic person. I hate when people say weird. It's not weird, but I just pride myself on being not a cookie cutter kind of chick. And with that, I cannot, you know, I don't see myself being exactly like so-and-so, exactly like so-and-so. But at the same time, we can have friends who are good friends, but they give, you know, I say it all the time, that even our well-meaning friends can give foolish advice. And so it becomes extremely important that we have somebody who has spiritual shoes, who imparts to us godly advice that helps us stay on the right path. Because some of this bad advice or these bad sort of models that we've been having have been causing a lot of us to walk into our own demise.
Now, you guys say that this book is for all ages, correct?
Correct.
So I am a college student.
Okay.
So how, you know, should a college student read this book?
Sure. Yeah. The way that Dr. Hall and myself did the book is that we wanted to be transparent and make the book for someone such as a college student. We understand that you're here in college, and sometimes college is the life, and spirituality may be on the back burner because you're saying, listen, I'm in college, I'm here, I want to ball, I want to go to class, I want to do some things, and I love God, but I don't think God necessarily, I need him right now. Why? I'm at the prime of my life. And oftentimes, as a mother of a college daughter, I heard that same conversation. Well, Mama, I'm good. I'm all right. I got you praying. And so we did the book as a way to gravitate and to try to get you to see, although you're a college student, you may be good, but you got to understand that the reason you're able to go to school now is because somebody prayed for you. There was a foundation that was already laid. And now, how do you come into this foundation? Although you are a beautiful black college student, what do you need to do? So once you get here, you won't get lost within the school row. You won't get lost in trying to be somebody else and know who you are. What's your purpose? Why did you come? Did you come just to party, or did you come to get an education? And most time, as you come, you get caught up in all steams of life. And sometimes you forget your true purpose. And this is the purpose of this book. It helps to guide you back to your true purpose, that you would stay real to yourself.
Now, do you feel also that this could help college students as a former professor here at Clark Atlanta University?
What? Definitely, but definitely, because having taught in higher education for the past 13 years, because I started off in the AUC at Morris Brown, and then I came to Clark for about 7 years, I've sort of mentored a number of students, right? We didn't really think of it as mentoring, but one of my colleagues would always say, she would say, Carolyn, you need a daycare bus because you always got a bunch of kids with you, you know. But I didn't think of it then, but I knew that it was God's purpose for me to be involved with youth, especially with young ladies. And there's so many times that I've seen young ladies with tremendous potential, but they had the wrong shoes. They had the wrong sort of teaching, the wrong sort of mentoring that didn't allow them to have the sort of right trajectory, like that forward going motion, the thing that they needed to propel them to the level of success. I'll give you an example. I would meet young ladies who would come all the time and they would have that first year or two, they would get involved with a bad crowd, right? And they would get involved with the crowd because these girls seem to be having fun, or these guys seem to be having fun, but they would be, you know, smoking, drinking, too much partying and that sort of thing. And so they would sort of get lost in the shuffle, and then later on they look back at freshman and sophomore year, and those were a year or two that were just wasted. Or either they ended up with some sort of bad reputation because they did a bunch of things that they didn't really feel comfortable with, but they thought that that's what they should do because that's what everybody else was doing. And so I think that a lot of times, because you know, when we leave home, parents just tell us, well, don't do this, don't do that. But when you're sort of faced with all of these decisions and it looks so great, it's harder to say no in the face of it when it looks so wonderful. So I think that what happens is the book speaks to why it's so important that we not have religion but an actual relationship, right? And I'm not saying that, you know, because I'm not saying that at college you've got to be a Bible thumping, walking around telling everybody what the Bible says, because you can still have a good time.
Right.
You know, you can still do things, enjoy life, enjoy the collegiate experience. But at the same time, you've got to sort of try to cultivate that spirit.
Right.
I love to read, and one of the things I was reading one time about, it's a French psychologist that talks about the tripart being, and he says that we're all made up of a person, a persona, and a personality. And because I'm a spiritual woman that's becoming more spiritual, I know that everything that is physical is a reflection of that which is spiritual. Well, God is three-part, right? So when he made us to be a reflection of that three-part thing that he is. So what happens is that the psychologist called it person, persona, and personality. Right. But really what it is that flesh, spirit, and soul. So when you see these things, a lot of times, the spirit man is the God that lies within us, right? But we'll allow our feelings, the flesh,
right,
the thing, you know, the thing that is tickled by what we see, by what we hear, to be the director. But that thing gets us in trouble,
right,
you know.
So we definitely got to take a break right now and come back to this great conversation. So stay tuned right after this.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me, the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover. Up to 40%.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest
spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little.
September is National Preparedness Month. Every September, NPM encourages Americans to prepare for emergencies in their homes, businesses, and communities. This month, Department of Homeland Security is asking you to pledge to prepare. Visit ready.gov/prepare to see simple steps you can take, such as keeping an emergency kit in your office and at home, and keeping copies of important family documents in a safe place. Here at CAU-TV, we recognize the importance of National Preparedness Month. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed.
things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. Tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover. Up to 40%.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest
spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little.
And welcome back to Potpourri. We're still here with these lovely ladies. So let's get back into the conversation. You were talking about the three-part persona. Can you explain that more?
Okay. Like I was saying, that most things in the natural are a reflection of what happens in the spiritual, right? So if let's say, for instance, when you talk about the spirit, right? You talk about God. God has a spirit. Then he had the flesh, which was his son that came. And then you have him, who is the unseen part, right? Which would be sort of representative of what we think of as a soul. And so what happens is that a lot of times because we don't understand that, and I hear her say it all the time, that we're sort of spiritual beings having a natural experience. And I think that is such an eloquent but plain spoken way to say what is honestly happening. Because if you look at, let's say for instance, you have somebody watching that's not necessarily a Christian, right? Every religion believes that there is life after death, right? And every major religion believes that this life after death is going to be based upon how it is that you live in this fleshly form. Well, if that being said, what is it that is going to direct you? What makes some people good? What makes some people bad? And so the thing that would make the people good would be that spirit or that portion of God that lies inside of you. But the problem is that many of us have not taken time to develop a spiritual component. And what I see more often than not, especially, and not just because it's not like a young people bashing session, but I can even think about myself doing it when I was younger, and I could see older people doing it as well. We live in a time now where people are sort of creating their own theology. And I think that is very, very dangerous to do. Because what happens is that people sort of pick and choose what they want to believe, right? Give me an example. You see people say, well, I hear young people say it all the time. Well, Dr. Hogg, I don't really think that having sex outside of marriage is bad because, you know, it's just what people do. We built like that. And the Bible was written a long, long time ago, and that's what it was back then, so on and so forth. And on one hand, I can kind of understand what they're saying. But what we think is that we think that is part of who we are as a chemical thing, right? Like we're just sexual beings. But really, we don't understand that we're not, because how cruel would the Creator be to say that sex is wrong? Because all major religions say the same thing, right? That sex is made for the confines of marriage. Well, how cruel would he be to give you this chemical drive that just you cannot deny, but then say it's wrong? But what has really happened is that we've been socialized in such a way that we constantly receive a barrage of images that make us feel that it's like there's a scripture that says that as a man thinketh, so is he, right? So if you're constantly bombarded with sexual images, sexual songs, sexual people talking about sex, well, then that's what you begin to think about, and you do begin to feel like, I might need to have it, right? But we see what is happening to the people as a result. You know, and I'm not saying that everybody that has some sort of disease is their fault, but we see that there are lasting consequences and repercussions to our actions, even if not a disease, a broken heart, that we were never meant to deal with in the first place.
Right. So that's kind of like what we were talking about over the break with college students and the freedom that we have. We have the freedom to think and the freedom to go with any religion that we want to, because we have that freedom. So you feel like this book can just help them decide, you know, what they want to believe and what they should believe?
Well, we feel that our book is a guide to instruct you to consider your spiritual aspect along with as you're maturing and growing. As you and I was talking during the break, we talked about during the time as a child, you was made to go to church. And so in that you was made to go to church, you felt no need but to obey your mother to go. You didn't get in the word. You just went, okay? And so the minute that you left Oklahoma, you came to Georgia, and you said, and you came to Atlanta, hot Atlanta, and I'm a college student. Now your mindset was, I'm not going to go to church. Because I was made to go. But no one talked to you about relationship. What we're saying in the book is that once you build up a relationship, just like if you build up a relationship with a girlfriend, you need to build up a relationship with your spiritualness as far as God, knowing your purpose. And once you do that, then you can make the right decision. You can still come to college and have a great time, ball, but understand your true purpose. That you know, okay, I'm rooted and grounded. There are some things I'm going to allow. There is a standard in which I'm going to live and abide by. Now, here it is. Sue may want me to go and party with her. I have a final tomorrow. What am I going to do? Am I going to party, or am I going to stick to what I know, what I came for, my purpose? And so that's what the book is talking about. You being true to yourself, although you may have people in your circle that's saying, listen, you can do this. You're going to be all right. You can make it up, when in reality, you may not be able to make it up.
True. So let's have a little fun with the title. I can do anything with the right pair of shoes. So what are your favorite pair of shoes? Both of you guys.
This is a shoe queen, so I'll let her go first.
I love pointed toe shoes.
Pointed toes, okay.
And why do I love pointed toe shoes? Because I believe they just straightforward to the point, and they lead you to where you need to be.
Right. So you don't have a favorite pair of shoes?
My favorite pair of shoes are actually Chuck Taylors. I love
Taylors,
Converse.
okay.
But if I have to, like, you know, like get girly, I like to put on wedges.
Wedges, yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
because
easy
like
to
with
walk in.
the stilettos and whatnot, it's kind of hard. Yeah.
So if you could walk in someone's shoes for one day, who would it be and why?
Great question. If I had to choose anybody's shoes that I would like, and since God has made me to be such a pastor, if I could walk in the shoes of Jesus, and I'm not talking about what I'm going through, when he was here, before the Father sent the Comforter, that experience alone, I think, would be an awesome experience.
Now I feel bad because but I think if I could walk in anybody's shoes, let me see, who would it be? This would ruin the purpose of the game, but I have to say it would be me. Because you know how when you put on a pair of heels for the first time, you're trying to figure the heels out? I'm still trying to figure out, you know, even at this particular age, I want to be solidified and definitive about who Carolyn Hall is. And it's not, I don't want to be sort of defined, like some people are defined by titles or defined by the things that they have. I want to be solidified and know beyond the shadow of a doubt that God has anointed and appointed me to do X, Y, Z, and not me. Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? You know, that sort of thing. So I want to wear my shoes.
You definitely wear the Chuck Taylors, right?
Right. Rock them out. I rock them out.
So, last question, where can we find the book at?
Okay. Well, the book is available on a website called thebookpatch.com, and you can just type in the name. I can do anything with the right pair of shoes. You can also contact Pastor V and I on Facebook, and I think Pastor V's name on Facebook is
Pastor Venus Ponder.
and she really does respond.
Right. Okay.
She really, you're like, oh, wow.
Right.
And I'm on Facebook, and I'm just simply Carolyn Hall.
Okay. Do you guys have Twitters or anything?
Not yet.
Not yet? Not hit to the game?
Not yet.
So is there any lasting words you guys would like to say about the book?
Sure, I would like to say that I welcome all young, old women to reach out to the book and to also reach out to myself because we wanted the book to be something of an inspiration that you can feel open enough to come and talk to us. And it doesn't matter where you are spiritually, whether you're there or not. It is my job to empower you to get there.
Dr. Hall?
I really think it would be a really good book for book clubs to read and for you guys to read in the dorms and whatnot and to talk about, because sometimes people, as we talked about before, can be well-meaning but still give bad advice. And I think that this is sort of I think it is just for the novice person, somebody who's new to the whole idea of spirituality, just as much as it is for somebody who's a seasoned Christian. Because no matter how young or old we are, there's still some things that we can learn about as it concerns our spiritual walk, and there's still some things that we can impart to other people.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today, Dr. Hall, Pastor Venus. We enjoyed you guys today.
And thank you, Shatondra, for having us.
You guys are
Thank
so
you.
welcome. Thank you. And that is another episode of Potpourri. Join us next time.